She's a well-loved Broadway belter who's currently starring in the brand new musical Greenwood at the New York Musical Theater Festival. Please welcome one of my favorites, Andrea McArdle.
How are you?
I'm so thrilled to see you. You look fabulous.
Thank you.
So welcome.
Thanks.
How's Greenwood going?
It's going great. I mean, we're having so much fun. It's kind of like working on something, you know, that you would imagine they had, how much fun they had when they did the musical Grease or the movie Big Chill. And we're just having such a ball.
So your daughter, Alexis Kalehoff,
Yes.
is in the show.
Yes.
And she's turned into a talented performer herself.
Yes.
I was checking out some of her First of all, I have to tell you.
Please don't check out YouTube and let that define us, because all of the good stuff is pulled.
Well, wait, hold on one second.
Like,
nobody told me that Rainbow is on YouTube. I've been dying to see
Really?
Rainbow, your
I haven't
Judy
seen
Garland
it.
TV movie, which has been long lost.
Yes.
It's on. Somebody put on big chunks of it on YouTube.
I
which
know.
is thrilling for me.
I've seen. I mean, I've seen a few little of the clips.
What do you mean all the good clips are pulled?
Well, things like, you
Because
know,
I just watched a lot of awesome clips of
I
you.
know, but like my Sally Bowles, the cabaret, and all of those great moments and everything, they're always pulled. And then you have, hey, me and my daughter were singing Take Me or Leave Me at 4 in the morning in some piano bar, and we're like, you know, the parts that everybody remembers, and they're like, they didn't sing that really well. You're like, hello, we're having fun.
Well, first of all, you can't read YouTube comments.
I don't.
Okay, good.
I don't.
Because
but some of the great ones, my brother is so kind to let me know. Thanks, Mike. Harsh. You have to feel really confident to go in there and
Are there any
read.
great things though that you? Well, I now know why YouTube was invented, so that Rainbow could get on there, because I've been waiting for it. So for me, that's a big thing. But are there any things you really like on YouTube of yourself?
No.
Nothing.
Not really.
Well, hopefully you'll like this interview.
But
This
we're
will
trying
wind
to
up on
change that.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So this is a chance to make something good.
Okay.
All right,
I'll
good.
try to be smarter.
Okay, so Greenwood. This is part of the NYMF, which should be pronounced NYMF. There should be a T in there. For some reason, there's not.
But it's really grown. I mean, from when
Yeah.
Tim Jerome started the National Musical Theater Network.
Right.
Tim played my father in Beauty and the Beast, and he did such incredible work. Just to see how it's grown and how well it's run and how much they're really behind it and everything, it's really nice for us in this community.
So it's kind of like throwing together a whole musical for like a nine show run, or?
Yes, yes.
So do you work well under those kind of pressures?
Well, I come from when summer stock was still at the end of its heyday, and these people would be doing in Oklahoma that night.
Right.
Painting the sets for Meet Me in St. Louis. I had 5 days rehearsal in roles that you've never done before, and somehow we did it. And the Kenley players, and so if it was done once, I guess we could do it again. But it's stressful.
Now this is about, from what I read, it's about a summer camp, and the people that all went to summer camp together sort of find each other. It sounds like it's about Facebook stalking.
Well,
do they start stalking each other on Facebook?
It's not really stalking, but my character Sheila. I mean, we're all finding this in our personal lives. I'm now reconnected with people that I didn't even know what their new last name was.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you know, people find themselves again, and all of them, they all took different paths. Some stayed in show business, they're miserable. The ones who didn't, they're miserable. Pattern here. And my character marries well and has it all, has nothing. She's trapped, she wants out, and it's very much what I personally, you know, had been going through for several years. And, you know, but there's a lot of truth, and there's an authenticity to the story, because our creators, Tor Hyam and Adam LeBeau, this is their story. So I always think I think, you know, when you have a right to tell a story and it's yours, there's something a little bit more organic about that.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you mentioned, your daughter is in the show, and I immediately thought, well, she must be playing Andrea's character younger, because
that was horrible. She was like, I don't have to play you, do I?
She's playing Felicia Finley's younger self, which is funny. And then somebody named Genevieve Hester is playing younger you.
And there's an uncanny resemblance to all of the young alter egos. Now, the first day, I was like, wow, they really have their work cut out for them, and I'm not really sure the budget is here, because we didn't look alike. Now we've been hanging out for a couple of weeks. It's freaky.
Wow.
It's freaky. It's like little mini-me's everywhere.
You've done a lot of shows now with your daughter.
Yes.
This is the first show, well, no, yeah, the first show in New York you've done together.
Yes, we just got done. We did a great production of Blood Brothers in Florida.
That's a great role for you.
I think it's I think it's my best role to date.
Yeah, really?
No budget, no Broadway production, but that was my best work.
It's a beautiful role.
The only problem is nobody in the industry has seen any of my good work, but I feel that I don't mind going out of town and doing great regional theater productions because I was playing Belle at 37. I should have been starting characters then. Yeah. So now I'm close to, I'll be 48 in November. I can't lie about my age because who lies about their age when they're 13?
Who
I would have added a year.
Right, you definitely can't lie about your age.
No, it's in all those world almanacs and everything. So I always psych them out when I say, oh, I'm 47 and a half, and they're like, she's brave.
Right.
Yeah.
You obviously, your character in the show, in Greenwood, is sort of looking back on her younger self. You can't get away from your younger self, Andrea McArdle.
I tried. I tried for a long time, but I've made my peace.
Well, yeah, you have to embrace it.
Yes. When you do embrace it, it doesn't, I was somewhat embarrassed, and I was still adolescing, but I'm not embarrassed anymore. I'm proud of it.
Now, if anyone just stumbled into this interview, you little known fact, you were the original Annie.
Yes. Yes.
And,
good old Annie.
Yeah, and I completely grew up listening to you over and over. I mean, you're part of the reason why I'm here. Your voice is,
thank
stuck
you.
in my head. And I know you hear that all the time from people. But does that ever get old? Is it just like, yeah, I know, I'm Annie, I get it?
No, it doesn't, but it does amaze me that the amount of people, or I'll go out and sing, at the AIDS Walk in LA, and then these people off of CSI, and, they're all like, I got in the business because of you. And, it is, it's interesting. And, Fergie, Rob Marshall was working with Fergie and Nine, and she was like, well, I had an Andrea McArdle, picture and album, for years, and I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, now let's do the duet. Come on.
Right. How important am I to you? Let's get that duet done.
That's next, right.
Well, and the power of you singing that song, of you singing Tomorrow, has an amazing power over people. And I was on the Our Family cruise a few years ago.
Which I love.
And I know you've done a few of them, and I got to see you do Annie. And I remember right before you were getting ready to do it, you were like, what am I doing?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
but
it.
You
oh my God, what was I thinking?
On stage, Rosie O'Donnell was Miss Hannigan, and you did the whole...
And I was writing her little girl's lines on the flask, and they were all trying, because she says, I'm not going to remember them. So being a good, lazy girl, cheater, I just put the cue in lines, and she was like, you owe me one. Well, Rosie, it's time to pay up. I know where you are.
But it was so incredible to see you do it. I mean...
It was strange, but it was so much fun.
There was a documentary called Life After Tomorrow that I want to ask you about.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, and it was a documentary that I saw where a lot of former Annies and orphans all talked about the experience and what happens to life after Annie ended, and you were not in it.
I was not in it because
I was shocked.
Well, that's the only thing that I could do to protect myself, and I tried to protect the creators and the girls involved. Huh. The girl who was producing this, Julie Stevens, she probably was 4 years old when we were all having that experience. So there's an instance, had no right to tell a story, which she wasn't there. So I don't understand what that was about, but it was terribly depressing, and
so you didn't
it was
buy
very ugly.
The sob story of it, like, well,
these girls were never on Broadway.
Right.
They were in a bus and truck national tour, and they wanted to be. Please don't define me in what my experience was, because they weren't even there. And they're never going to be on Broadway. And I don't I feel that strongly about it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And the creators were upset with me for not doing it. And when it came out and was killed in the Times and they thought it was so terrible, they were like, well, should have listened to you.
Wow.
So I knew it. It was going to be, some sob story. And that was not our experience. They weren't there.
Right.
They were the wannabes, and do not tell my story. Thank you.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
I was curious at the time. So Annie's coming back.
Yeah.
How about that? And we're coming on 35 years, right?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
It is crazy.
And
like
when
you
you
said,
walk,
you can never hide from your age.
I know. And I walk in the room, they're like, you're all grown up. I was like, I've been grown up for about 30 years. Yeah. Yeah. I am grown up. My daughter's grown up.
Do you think that the warm feelings that, because the theater industry, obviously a lot of the people that are now in casting and directing and producing, they grew up with you. Does that help or hurt you in the industry?
I don't think it's helped me. I really don't. I think in a lot of breakdowns they say, we want somebody like Andrea McArdle. And I was like, well, what about Andrea McArdle? I think people For a while, they didn't catch up, and because my body of work is indelible, that's a lovely thing. But think of Liza Minnelli in Cabaret, that's indelible. Julie Andrews, indelible.
Yeah.
Idina Menzel, indelible. It is difficult. It's just like somebody on a TV series where you kind of have to go away for a while. I've been away for a while, and I'm ready to be back.
Every time I've seen you in anything, I think you're brilliant.
Thank you.
And I love your voice, and so I want you to be on Broadway all the time.
Thank you.
I mean, I think let's get that done.
Let's get going.
Let's pretend like I had $10 million, and
Okay.
we were going to book a theater, maybe the Neil Simon, since that's where you opened
Cool.
in Annie. Why not?
You mean the
Making
Alvin?
Yeah, the Alvin.
Yeah, the
sorry.
Alvin. I remember the Alvin
and
with no microphones.
We'll call it the Alvin, and there won't be any microphones. And which musical do you want me to spend $10 million on for you?
Well, my dream role, one of my favorite shows is Sweeney Todd, maybe a few years away. And maybe Mama Rose in the next 20 years would be amazing. With my daughter.
I was just about to say that. I was thinking that earlier. I was like, that seems inevitable at some point.
I mean, I would love to do Mame. I mean, there's so many roles I'd love to play, but Reno Sweeney would be one I would love to, and I tap, so.
Yeah.
National tour, maybe, I don't know.
All right.
Well, if they put Bernadette in after Catherine Zeta-Jones, you're not going to see that many wrinkles from that far.
Right. Now, you played Miss Hannigan
Yes.
twice in the last couple years, right?
Last year.
Last year, you played Miss Hannigan twice. Was that like a public audition for the revival?
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't know what's going to happen, but I would love to have the audition because I think I'm a terrific Hannigan, and that's just my first go at it. But I was the one who got to work around Dorothy, and almost everything I know about comedy is either from Carol Burnett or even a better view from, like, the best was Dorothy.
You'd like to be considered for the revival.
I would, my agents have thrown my name into the hat, but apparently, everybody, including Meryl Streep, wants to play Miss Hannigan, which, would be amazing. But I think this time, instead of going for a movie name to be on that, on that album and everything, why not once? Just once.
Yeah.
Put the person who should be on the album on it, and those movie stars, they're going to be 10 times as good. I mean, just like if I had a template from a Meryl Streep to do anything. You know what I mean? I mean, this is what we do. This is all we do. And I think for once, I really hope they do something right. And whether it's me or any other thespian, don't go get a TV name and do that. I think, first of all, I don't think they need it. The people who are going to see that show are going to go see it anyway. And maybe a year or two down the line, that's a great reason to go back. But, it's nice when they do it right.
So the last time Annie came to Broadway, there was obviously this awful experience of where they cast this girl who ended up not, and you were involved. Didn't you have to weren't you
No, all
involved?
I did was do them the favor, and I remember I broke 20 bones in my foot in State Fair on Broadway, and I still had the cast on, and they were like, will you come to Macy's and
Right, so you were at the event.
crown the new Annie, and against my better judgment, I was like, sure. I didn't learn to say no yet.
And the girl did not end up on Broadway, it was awful. I mean, the whole thing was just a terrible.
It was an awful thing.
It was an awful thing. So, does that make you protective of whoever they're going to get for the new Annie to play Annie, or?
Well, I think that in general, it's hard to find a girl who is seasoned enough as far as just, common sense and maturity.
Right.
You can't put a 13-year-old against an 8-year-old. The 8-year-old, no matter how good, it's going to be one-dimensional. And then, if you have a 13-year-old, the best time to get a girl to play Annie is right before they can't, when they only look like they have 3-4 months to do it, because then they have the head. And I just feel they cast the show so young, partially because kids are bigger. Kids are bigger. They say it's the hormones in the milk, but kids are way bigger now.
Wow, that's weird. I never thought about that.
It's true, but I think that you can't. I think 8 years old, 8, 9, it's too young.
Yeah. So they should be walking around Philly looking for some tough girl on a street or something.
Actually, I was thinking of this little girl who I tuned in by accident to that America's Got Talent. This little girl from Alaska.
Oh.
Sings and plays like Alicia Keys, and she just looks like, one of the Disney heroines. And I was like, the Annie light went, cha-ching.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
You have an Annie light.
Well, this kid, I don't know. She'd give me a run for the money. I'm telling you, I don't know if I want her to do the role, but if I were casting,
you'd bring her in.
I'd bring her right in, and has the heart to go with it. She doesn't even know how good she is.
Wow.
She doesn't know how incredible.
Wow.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Because she just will melt your heart.
And you don't know her name.
And even if you can't sing, that's your first job. They have to love you. They have to want for you to win.
Yeah.
And that's really ultimately all you need.
Right. Wow, so we got it all figured out. We got a Hannigan and
done.
we got Annie. We got the whole thing. We're done. Let's do it.
Opening night party, come on.
So you are newly single.
I am.
Yeah. How is that going? You look gorgeous. So are you're on the market?
It's really new, and it was going on for a while, and it's my first and only marriage. My daughter's father, Ed Kalehoff. What I always say is we had a great run. I mean, 23 years in show business, it's pretty much like an eternity.
Yeah. Wow. So after 23 years, you're newly single.
Yes.
And
back in the city.
Are you excited?
And so happy. Yes, I am.
And so your daughter, is she? You're gonna hit the scene. You're not gonna become like a Lohan.
You mean like Dina and Lindsay?
You're not gonna be out drinking and making out.
Oh no. That's been done. No thanks. We're gonna try something new. No, but we're living together and we're in the city, and I smell a Andy Cohen Bravo reality series.
Well, I've been saying forever that I wanted the Real Housewives of We talked about it in a previous episode, and you would obviously fit onto that perfectly.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That sounds like fun. Dysfunction Junction. I'm there. Yeah, when do we start? Let's go.
Is Dysfunction Junction, is that you or was that the show? Are you dysfunctional?
Broadway housewives, like, I mean, what are they cooking today? Hi, Ollie's? Right. No, I mean, I think it's amazing because if you can get that music factor in there, I mean, that's golden. That's golden.
All right, Andy Cohen, let's do this. You're newly single, you're with your daughter, we're going to get you a Bravo show, we're going to do maybe Sweeney Todd.
Sounds
maybe
good.
Annie. We got Greenwood happening.
Sounds good.
It's all good. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, and I really, really want to do some straight plays.
Yeah.
I really do. I was hanging out with Judith Light at the Kennedy Center not that long ago, and I was like, what do I need to do? She's like, you need to shave your head and do a play. And I said, excuse me? She was like, honey, I survived sitcoms, had to reinvent. I survived this and had to reinvent. And
wow.
Sounds like a good idea. Where's the razor?
Shaving your head?
I would do it.
You would shave your head?
Mm-hmm. I would. I mean, I would. Years ago, I would think, how could anybody do that? But yeah, it might grow back, right? Yeah. No, I mean, I would, just to do something different. I'm just really hungry to express myself, as an artist.
But right now we got Greenwood, and I'm going to go check it out. And
Please do.
And Greenwood starts October 6th.
Yes, and we run through the 16th
at the Signature Theater on 42nd Street.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it.
It's fun.
And I'm thrilled that you're doing a new musical, and we get to hear your beautiful voice. Thanks for coming on. Good to see you. You look fabulous as always.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.